When I made a video about what I don't like about rooftop tents, a ton of people recommended a T4 Gazelle pop-up tent as a quick setup alternative. Those tents are cool, but $450 for the base tent is still a lot of money for the small floor space. So when somebody asked me if I want to try out a smaller 2-man pop-up tent, I was curious. I'd be willing to do a review as long as I could say whatever I wanted, good or bad. Plus there was a campsite outside San Rafael Swell I wanted to try for a night, so it all came together real well. In the interest of fairness, I want to point out I did not buy this tent, it was sent to me to review, but the tent is currently selling for $120 as of this video, cheaper than most tents in my collection and very affordable in the current economy. I've had a lot of tents in this price range and they have their purpose. The big trick is if they're able to live up to the price point before they wear out. I like to use my gear rather than baby it, so I want to make sure I get my money's worth. The campsite was a beautiful cluster of interesting rocks, just a half-mile off the Green River Cutoff Road east of Cedar Mountain. Because I was slipping in this overnighter in between long work weeks, I couldn't really plan for ideal weather, and some late spring storms were making their way through the area, kicking up the wind and always threatening rain. But it's great for a tent test. Okay, I did not have a chance to get this out and test it out before I came out here, which might have been a bad idea, but I was just busy with work, so we'll discover this together on our own. Oh, here we go. I love when the instructions are sewn in, so. Where are the stakes? I think we're gonna need stakes in a minute here. See how badly I fail at this. That wasn't so bad. That was incredibly fast, okay. I don't think they've got stakes with it. Stakes. No stakes. Glad I'm prepared. Because I got a diagram with the little cheapo stakes. I got home and let the company know that they sent out a tent with no stakes. They were very sorry for the issue and shipped out the stakes and guy wires, which is great. I like that they were quick to fix their mistake. But in the interest of fairness, I'm not going to edit the issue out of the video either. First as a reminder to check the gear at home before you head out, and second as a lesson to always have an emergency backup on hand. Let's see what we got in our magic bag. So I got some of these are pretty cheap to get. But these use those weird wire ones through the corners. I don't know if these will fit. These will not fit. I got more wire, those cheap wire ones. Ooh. Here we go. See how we go. Let's see if I fit. It seemed a little small, but now that the corners are out. There is a long and a short side to the tent, but even lengthwise as 6'3", I barely fit. The shallow angle of the sides of the tent mean either my toes or the top of my head are touching the wall. Diagonally, there's more than enough room for one person. Because of the segmented nature of the tent legs, a crazy windstorm or some rowdy kids falling on the tent may cause the legs to give and collapse like they were being packed. The benefit is that the legs won't break, but also in a powerful windstorm the legs would probably pop down sooner than other tents would break. See how that leg is kind of turning as it goes over? You kind of want your legs straight up. I think it's because it was the third one done. This one's a little funky too. It's kind of twisting, but that might be because of the order I hammered them in. So we're gonna do a little correction at the end, see if we can straighten it up a bit. Ooh, there's that storm coming. Wind's picking up. Seal everything up just to be sure. The worst of the wind is coming up over the hill and around the side. And we're just more of an eddy current here, but we are getting a little bit. It's tumbleweeds out there. So this is a little sheltered, but you can't do everything. Hopefully when this blows over, it'll get a lot better. I can already see sun on the other side. Yeah, let's see how it holds up. As far as structure is concerned, it's pretty standard for a tent of this price. Zippers are okay, but not heavy-duty YKK zippers. They feel good now, but I wonder how they will hold up against years of desert and beach sand. One of the windows of mine had a little manufacturing defect where the fabric to the zipper got folded in the sewing mist. The strain was good and wouldn't let any bugs in, but it wasn't a minor annoyance. The company does have a 30-day return policy if the tent arrives defective or damaged. Just like any other new toy you get, set it up and check it out as soon as you get it to make sure everything arrived functional. The tent covers all other bases, pockets at either end for holding glasses, flashlights, or phones when you go to sleep, a hook on the top for a small lantern, a good air gap between the vented roof and the shell to cut down on condensation, reinforced corners, stuff like that. And water sheds well in an artificial downpour, since I have to test these in the desert. A little pooling on the top, but still bone dry inside. There are a ton of tents available, for a ton of different uses and a ton of different price points. Most people I know who have done a lot of camping have a collection of tents they use depending upon their needs. So the question is, where does this fit in and is it worth it? I think this tent gets high marks for quick setup. After setting it up a few times, it would be very easy to have this thing up and ready. The value of the tent took a few hits with the restriction of not fitting other shaped tent stakes and the zippers, but it's also less expensive than many tents. I prefer some of the design choices of some other $300 tents, but this is less than half that and it'll still do the job of keeping you dry and sheltered. So would I recommend this tent? No, not to me. Not to somebody with 40 years of experience and an already a collection of tents. But to somebody who's never been camping and who just wants to try it out to see if it's everything the Instagrammers have hyped it up to be, yeah, I think so. It's a good starter tent at a price where you won't feel bad if you're not into camping and you decide to never go again, but also a good enough tent that you can get a couple years out of it if you really love camping, and then you'll learn the ins and outs and what you like and don't like so you can choose what would be better fit for you in the next tent that you buy. And one particular demographic that I didn't even think about until I was setting this up for additional footage in the backyard as the neighbor kids were bouncing on their trampoline yelling at me over the fence is teenage kids. If you've been camping with your kids and they're getting a little too big for the family tent and you want to put them in their own tent, this would be ideal. They can set it up, it's easy, it does everything for them. They can trash it within a year and you wouldn't feel too bad because it's not too expensive. They can set it up in the backyard and have sleepovers. They could take it to scout camp, put it too close to the fire and get little ember holes in it. It's the perfect tent for somebody to start out with who hasn't learned all the ins and outs of camping and might make the mistakes that we've all made. Because it's easy, it's affordable, and it gets the job done. So I definitely think this tent has a place in the market for the right person. It's just not me. Somebody who's watching this and maybe has never been camping, this is definitely one of them to look at.